Last night's presidential debate between former President Donald Trump and Vice President Kamala Harris is set to be a pivotal moment in the race for the White House. So joining me now to break down the debate's potential impact, we have Joia Nuri, an ICF certified executive leadership coach and public speaking coach. Thank you so much for being here.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, so let's start out with the beginning, the very beginning of this debate. So that handshake, it felt a little uncomfortable. I kind of want to talk about body language and how that looked to you.
I think it was an excellent start. I think that it was very important for Vice President Harris to establish herself. And I thought it was also very strategic that she walked toward him. She made that concession. And also in the body language, she leaned toward him with her hand and gave her name. That is really powerful in any situation.
Yeah, and what does that sort of interaction communicate to the viewer?
In a debate setting, it commands. It gives you an opportunity to set the tone. It not just, I'm talking about debate, not necessarily political. You set the tone. You walk over, she walked past her podium, she walked her hem, she leans her head a little bit forward. It throws your opponent off a little bit. It allows you to start it with your opponent sort of thrown off guard.
Yeah, and speaking of that moment, how about any other moments? Were there any other moments that stuck out to you from a public speaking perspective?
I think they both have very good diction. I think that Mr. Trump will tend to slur words together to make his point, and his body language will lean toward the podium, and that's an indication of frustration. In every sort of debate I have coached, congressional testimony and 14 TED Talks, and your body language is it all. I mean, when you're doing congressional testimony, you never want to lean in. It's aggressive. So you don't want to do that. Also, Mr. Trump, as a public speaker, the worst thing you want your person to do is to string several ideas together in order to make your point or make any point. You want your speaker to stay focused on this linear thought and then move to the next linear thought and not mix them together. That was not good public speaking approaches. On the other side, Vice President Harris had beautiful body language in that she used her hands to make a point. She had eye contact with the audience. There was three audiences there. There were the moderators, there was the television audience, and then there was Mr. Trump. Her eye contact, able to move between these three audiences, was really quite powerful and compelling. And using her hands, up here so that everybody in the audience could see her hands was really very, very effective in conveying her point of view. Now, I would say her distracting point was the facial expressions. I know that this is theater because it's television. We're not just doing a normal debate. But I think her facial expressions, though hysterical to watch, really is not the debate format. And I hope if they do it again, someone will couch her on this or really couch both of them on it.
Yeah, Joy, I'm taking notes. I'm supposed to be a professional public speaker as well, so definitely not leaning in. I mean, this is something that no matter what side you're on, you can definitely take notes and, take heed in case you have to speak publicly for whatever reason. Is there anything else really quickly that you'd like to say to sum this all up?
Well, if you go back to the history of presidential debates, and that would harken us back to 1960 between John Kennedy and then Vice President Richard Nixon, Senator Kennedy and Vice President Richard Nixon. What you know is when they did polls after, people who listened to the debate on the radio thought Nixon won. People who watched it on television thought Kennedy won because of Kennedy's tan, his youth, his vibrancy. And that would be very important. Nixon was sweating in it. So your physical presentation, especially in an age where very few people are watching or listening to this on the radio, your physical appearance is very important because the second thing anybody knows about you is what you look like.
That's powerful
That
there.
is that is a powerful piece that will linger with you forever. So that would be my piece of advice. If you want to do public speaking, if you want to be a politician, you want to be your authentic self, you want to understand that we now live in an age where your appearance is everything, and you want to make sure that you're not jumping from one topic to another and that your diction is crisp.
All right. Thank you so much. That sums everything up. Joia Jefferson Nuri, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Can she hear me? Okay. Thank you so
Yes.
much. That was really powerful. Really. I'm sitting here taking mental notes.
Okay, okay. So I want to
So,
say something to your producers. If you're looking for somebody who talks about business strategies, how people get over their inner critic, I do a lot of things beyond the public speaking. So I'm making my own little pitch here to have me back.
take that time to do so. Yes. We'll
Okay,
definitely
okay.
keep you in mind, really. Nice to meet
Okay.
you.
Thank you so much.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Take
Appreciate
care.
you much.